Yo, you're watching the Screaming Fish here, people. And once again, I'm here for you guys with yet another video. And this time, as you can tell, whoa. Hold up. What's going on here? I finally got a video out. Not 2 weeks late. Or 3. And I got my intro back. Anyway, as you can tell by the incredibly obvious title at the bottom of the screen, we are taking a look at Ready Player One. Well, actually, that title's not really at the bottom of the screen, it's more under the screen, but you get the idea. So, anyway, yeah, I saw Ready Player One, and I'm here to share my thoughts on it. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Ready Player One. So, Ready Player One, from what I've seen on Stardust and YouTube anyway, seems to be a fairly divisive movie, to say the least. There seems to be a lot of people that like it, and a lot of people that dislike it. And others seem to think it's okay. I myself was excited for the movie, but also skeptical. On one hand, a movie filled to the brim with pop culture references set in a video game world, directed by Steven Spielberg, that also happens to be based off my favourite book of all time, sounded great. But on the other hand, maybe there might be too many pop culture references, and admittedly, the whole story of the book did seem like an awful lot to put into a 2-hour and 20-minute movie. Before I get into what I think about the movie, I just want to make it clear, I don't enjoy a film purely because of nostalgia or because I make myself enjoy it even when I know it's bad. I like films because I enjoy them. I don't convince myself that it was good purely because I spent months looking forward to it, when actually I was massively disappointed. But I really enjoyed Ready Player One. Is it revolutionary? No. Is it perfect? Far from it. But is it worth a watch and insanely entertaining? Yes, it certainly is. Ready Player One is actually a more intelligent movie than one might think. Yeah, it is exactly what the trailers advertised it as, no surprises there, but Ready Player One is a movie that does have something to say. There is a constant theme of reality versus illusion flowing through the film's story. When two people are talking to each other in this virtual world called the Oasis, they don't know what each other actually look like because all they're seeing is their avatars. When you're actually talking to someone in the Oasis, you only see their avatar, not what they actually look like. This theme does create a subtle sense of tension for the characters, as when they're talking to people in this world, they only have a picture in their head of what the person they are talking to may look like in real life. For all they know, the person they know in the Oasis could be a completely different person, both in appearance and personality-wise. And I did like how the movie used that theme to create tension between the characters. However, that does lead me to my only main issue with the film. I do have a couple of other nitpicks with the film, which I won't get into because I can't talk about them without spoiling the movie for you, but my only real issue with the film was character development. Don't get me wrong, all the characters in Ready Player One are very likeable as well as fun to watch, and they are portrayed very well, I might add. But their backstories could have been written better. I know the backstories of all the characters because I read the book, but people who haven't read the book aren't going to know that going in. For example, Wade Watts, the main character, portrayed very well by Ty Sheridan, and overall he's pretty likeable as a lead. But we only get one small scene where we get somewhat of an idea of what his life is like outside the virtual reality that is the Oasis. But beyond that, most of his backstory is told through narration. I don't often compare the books to the films that are based off those books because they could be vastly different from the book for better or worse, therefore making it hard to make the comparison. In a lot of cases, Ready Player One is very different from Ernest Cline's novel, but I feel that the characters were more fleshed out in the book than they were in the film. It's almost like they were expecting us to already know the backstories to these characters before going into the film, and I really hate it when films based off novels, or films based off comic books for that matter, do that. However, at the same time, I thought all the characters were portrayed very well by the cast. Ty Sheridan does a great job capturing Wade Watts' stubbornness and geeky personality and translating it to the film while also bringing his own spin to it. I also really liked Artemis, played excellently by Olivia Cooke. She was a badass in this movie, and she had some of the best action sequences in the film, as well as great chemistry with Ty Sheridan. I got more and more attached to the two of them as the film progressed, and honestly, this was just a damn good interpretation of Artemis. Ben Mendelsohn was a pretty big surprise for me in this film. He plays the film's villain, Nolan Sorrento, the head of this huge corporation, and his performance was so good that it actually made me dislike the character he was playing. He's just so easy to hate, but his performance was just so fun and energetic that you can sort of love him and hate him at the same time. And when you have a villain in your movie that is able to do that, you've done something right, my friend. Ready Player One is a very fast-paced adventure film. Yes, admittedly that can mean that one or two scenes may feel somewhat rushed or underdeveloped, but because the movie moves at a breakneck pace, I was never bored for the entirety of the film's runtime. It's one of those 2.5-hour movies that feels like it's over in 20 minutes. I found myself pretty engrossed in the scenes in between all the action where the characters are using their knowledge of pop culture to decipher clues about this mystery they have to solve. Partly because many of those references used were pretty nostalgic for me, and also I feel like it added a lot of fun and levity to the film, and it helped me to relate to the characters a lot more than I thought it would. Ready Player One is also a surprisingly funny movie with plenty of laugh-out-loud moments, some of which had me dying in my seat, okay? The film cleverly makes use of the somewhat awkward interactions between the characters to create comedy, which again helped me to relate to them even more because while 80% of the movie is focused on these characters in a virtual reality, that comedy maintained the sense of humanity. There was always a sense that there is a human being behind that virtual mask. I also really enjoyed the tons of pop culture references in this movie. Yes, admittedly, a lot of them don't really serve any purpose to the plot other than to create nostalgia, and some of them anyway can feel a little random and out of place. But I won't deny that I had fun seeing characters, props, or costumes from various movies or video games pop up in the background. I'm going to have to watch this movie at least 10 more times to spot half the references I missed in my first viewing because I noticed a lot, but I know there are tons more that I missed. Seeing things like the DeLorean from Back to the Future or the Akira bike just brought a sense of joy seeing them on the big screen again. It's easy to watch Ready Player One and feel nostalgic as soon as you see something from pop culture you like pop up somewhere in the background. The visuals in Ready Player One are gorgeous. It is a beautifully animated movie with some truly breathtaking imagery and effects. I love that the character models look like something from a video game. You can actually see tiny pixels making up their bodies. That was just a cool little detail that I noticed, and it proves the excellence in this film's attention to detail. I'm actually grateful that this movie was made in the way it was, because I don't think you can make a movie like Ready Player One completely in live action, because not only would the CG be incredibly hard to code, but it would also create less of a contrast between the virtual world and the real world. However, because the Oasis scenes are animated, it makes the Oasis seem like its own world separate from the real one, creating a compelling contrast between the two worlds from a visual perspective. The action in Ready Player One is Spielberg at his best. No one can direct a car chase the way Steven Spielberg can. Literally no one. He uses a lot of long, unbroken takes in the action sequences to add a sense of thrill and excitement, while also creating an overwhelming sense of intensity. Well, that and the action is just kick-ass! Alan Silvestri's score is also amazing. I would actually say that the music he composed for this film is among his best work. The music in general is amazing, whether it's Silvestri's score or the insane soundtrack that I really want to jiggy to. Ready Player One feels like a Spielberg movie from the 80s and 90s, when he was making amazing adventure and sci-fi films like Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T. or Jurassic Park. It's just refreshing to see a Spielberg movie that gives you an experience similar to the experience those films gave you, not just because the film references them, which it kinda does. Overall, I had a lot of fun with Ready Player One. I can't really express how much I enjoyed this film any further because I would be repeating myself, and you guys will probably be tired of me by that point. I will say that Ready Player One is definitely one of my favorite Spielberg movies, and I really desperately want to see it again. So with all that said, Ready Player One gets a 9.5 out of 10. So guys, those are my thoughts on Ready Player One. I do hope you enjoyed this video. I really liked the movie. I don't think it's a movie that everyone is going to enjoy, but I really liked it. This whole video was based purely off my opinions, so yeah, there you go. Anyway, once again, thank you for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Stardust. And, of course, I will see you guys in the next video, whenever that comes out. I don't know, I don't really have a set date for these videos. I just sort of make them whenever the heck I want. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll just get out of your hair and let you enjoy your day or night, or depending on whatever time it is you're watching this video. I mean, it's currently night time and pouring down with rain again as I'm recording this. But, yeah, I'm just gonna stop rambling and leave it alone. So, goodbye, people.